what situationship means? Okay, a couple of sad people in the back. I appreciate that you're not willing to admit it. It's totally fine. When I was in college, I was in a situationship for 5 years. That silence is deafening. And that makes sense because I was only in college for 4 years, which tells you that I learned everything I needed to know for an undergraduate degree in English literature, but I did not learn my lesson. Yeah, before you judge me too harshly for that, I want you to know that I did a lot of mental gymnastics in order to justify that to myself. Like, I thought that the reason why, he was never my date to my sorority formal was because he was shy. I thought that the reason why, we never made direct eye contact outside of the dorm room was because he wore, horn-rimmed glasses and sweaters with elbow patches, and he read a lot of Tolkien. And so then I read a lot of Tolkien. You get what I'm saying? Like, he was a nerd, and I thought that that was the justification. He was an introvert, and I was like, that's fine, it's cute and sexy in like a nerdy kind of way. But I went to school in Washington, D.C., and after I graduated, I left our college town, but he stayed there. And I had to come back to D.C. to be a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding that summer after I graduated. And so I texted him, because he was still living there, and I was like, hey, how would you like to have sex in a bed that's not a twin size? And he said yes, and so I texted him the address to the hotel room that my mom paid for, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the rehearsal dinner. You meet me here afterwards. So I come back from the rehearsal dinner, I saunter into the hotel lobby, and he's sitting there waiting for me, reading a book. Sexy, right? Thank you for one small Please say it with your chest. I'd appreciate that support. Thank you very much. No, he's waiting for me in the hotel lobby reading a book, and so I walk up to him and I say, let's go upstairs. So then we go upstairs, and I take one look at him, and he takes one look at me, and he goes, do you mind if I finish this chapter? Exactly, is right. That hurt my feelings, I'm not gonna lie. It bruised the ego just a little bit, just a skosh. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Clearly, I'm over it. And this is gonna sound, because that was 5 years ago, this is gonna sound like a non sequitur, but who among here has been seeing videos on your TikTok For You page that shows you the signs and symptoms of undiagnosed adult autism? Just me? Just me? Okay, cool. That's chill. Because I've been getting that a lot. And so I texted one of those videos to my friend whose wedding it was. And I said, hey, based on this video, do you think that he has undiagnosed adult autism? And she said, no, Courtney, I don't think he has undiagnosed adult autism. And some of you are laughing because you think that the next sentence that she says is, you have undiagnosed adult autism. But that's not what she says. She says, he does not like you. Befuddled. Because for some reason, that's more difficult for me to swallow. Hard to tell. I know the reason why it's difficult for me to understand. And the reason why it's difficult for me to understand is because, I have this personality issue where I don't like most people, but then once I find one person that I do like, I tend to glom onto them. I'm a glommer. And it's something I've been working on a lot in my personal relationships. Not in therapy, though, because I'm 27, and so I can't do that anymore. I'm not allowed. And so I've been seeing some people and trying to keep them a little bit more at arm's length, trying to be a bit more casual with it. And so I started seeing this guy back in July. We met on a dating app. It was Hinge. Let's say for the sake of anonymity, his name is Matt. His name is Matt, but they're all named Matt, so the odds are pretty good there. And we've been dating since July, but sort of casually, I'm allowed to date other people and he's allowed to ask about it, but I can't ask him because then my ego can't handle it. Very relatable, thank you. And he was over to my apartment recently for the second time ever. It's like my inner sanctum. And we were talking about online dating. He's like, how's that going? How are the apps? And I was like, honestly, I've started this new rule where I don't give my phone number out to people unless we've been on one successful date, all right? Because I'm a semi-public figure as a comedian in Chicago. And so people just can know too much information about me if they have my name and my phone number. And he's like, you are so right. I love the element of surprise. We do know too much about each other. I don't even know your last name. What? Excuse me? You don't know my last name? I live in a doorman building. How did you get up here? Did you just approach the desk and say, hey, I'm here to see that loud chick in 403, and they just let you up? That's a security concern. Also, I have multiple monograms in my apartment, so it's easy for you to Scooby-Doo out what my last name is. Like, honestly, you could just Google Courtney, comedian, Chicago, and I'm the other one who's not married. Like, it's one of two people. It's not difficult. I swear. So I did the only thing I could think of to rectify that situation, and I slept with him. What else was I supposed to do? I don't know. And so the next day, I spent 30 minutes in the shower scream sobbing to Olivia Rodrigo, because I'm 27 years old, and that's an appropriate reaction. But then the next day, I texted him, and I said, okay, look, I'm not happy with how that went down. I don't need you to respect me, but I need to respect myself. Not a strong start. And then he texted me back, and he's like, thank you so much for letting me know how you feel. It wasn't my intention to hurt your feelings. I just want to let you know, though, that when normally I meet people for the first time, I find out their last name by following them on Instagram. And so it wasn't because I didn't want to know your last name. It's just, that's normally how I find that information out. Which puts me in the awkward position of having to be a 14-year-old girl and go, well, then why don't you follow me on Instagram? Because he doesn't. And then he responds, well, I don't really go on Instagram all that much. And I'm like, that was your whole argument right there. So I'm a bit confused. And I like, okay, look, I'm just a little frustrated and confused. So why don't you give me some time to have some space to think about this? And he's like, I totally understand. Listen, I still really like you and I want to spend more time with you. I'm going to be out of town for the holiday. Why don't I connect with you when I'm back? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And that was over Thanksgiving. Do you think he's mad at me? I think he might be mad at me. Are you guys mad at me? I'm a little disappointed in myself. My name's Courtney Zelazny. Thank you so much.